When we were well again, we went up the ridge to check the storm plates. The air was clean and thin, a shadow moved. Wrong overhead, a flying beast turning tight. Silent circles. It dove for me. Veroin met it first. He took the strike across his shielded back and drove it off. But the hit twisted his wing. I heard the joint slip. He fell hard to one knee and held his breath through the pain. I got him down on a flat rock. "Let me," I said. He nodded once. We pressed our foreheads. He gave me what the wing felt like from the inside, so I wouldn't. Guess I gave him steadiness, and he took it. "On one," I said, and I rotated and pulled. The joint slid back home. He exhaled hard and held me there brow to brow until the spike of pain faded and the warmth came back. Under my hands, we wrapped the wing, made a sling, and walked home slow. For a week I did his shieldmaker's work while he taught. He sat on a low stool, voice close at my ear. "More heat," he'd murmur. "Less pressure. Hold it there, yes." I caught, softened, and laid the plates, and he guided with touch. A palm steadying my shoulder, a claw tapping where to anchor. It was work, but it was also intimacy, his focus on my hands, my breath following his cues. When a plate took the right curve, he made a quiet sound. I felt in my chest. When he could lift the wing halfway, we flew the river at dusk slow together. He counted the beats his body could give. I matched him. We landed with our knees touching, and didn't talk for a while. It felt like we'd learned each other's language, without saying much. We kept sharing memories, but not every day. We chose them. Some nights we opened our brows and walked each other through rooms that hurt. I took him to the storm shelter and the small bed where my children slept. He didn't try to fix any of it. He stood with me inside it, steady and warm, and I felt the weight change hands for a while. He took me to the nursery cave where his mother used to hum 2 eggs. I felt what it is to believe in the future without needing proof. We closed our brows and went to sleep with our hands around each other's wrists. Adult content warning, 18 years old, and older only. Some spice ahead. The chase and the catch. When his wing was strong again and the late sun turned the air to swirls of violet, he brought me to the basalt arches where his people court. Mist rose off the falls, and fine strands. Veruin looked at me like he already knew my answer. He held out an arm in invitation, cocking his head to the side. A silent question. A smile graced my face, and I gave a playful hum as my body tensed for the chase. We rode the warm-up drafts until the ledges below turned small. He peeled away first. Quick bank, tight roll, under an arch dusting the air, testing me. I followed close enough to feel his slipstream across my chest. He took the narrow route on purpose. I let him see how close I could fly without touching them. Brushed against him, a soft pass along his shoulder that made his breath catch and his mouth tilt. He darted left through spray, skimmed a pillar, then flashed me his palm. "Come." I went. We played. He chose the path. I chose the distance. I learned where he liked risk, where he wanted control. I showed him how much I wanted him. Wingtip to wingtip, hip to hip. No taking, just a gentle flirtation. The sun dropped lower. The arches threw cool bands of shadow across us. He dove for a large one. I stayed high, counted 3. Heartbeats cut through the dark, and caught his wrist. His scales were hot from flying. He didn't pull away. He turned his hand and laced our fingers. We locked forearms and let the updraft hold us. We pressed our foreheads together, our way of asking and answering, breath to breath. I hummed low in question. He let out a low purr and pulled me close. We didn't rush. The ritual asks for slow, considerate motions. I traced the ridge of his crest. He shivered. He slid his hand up my spine, slow, careful, waiting for my breath to deepen. It did. Our tails found each other, entwined without thinking. I tasted salt on his jaw and the heat of his neck. He kissed my mouth like he'd longed to do so, for an eternity. He untied my flight band. I unhooked the plate at his chest. We moved in small certain motions, making space for flesh and heat. We stayed brow to brow, checking each other's eyes, letting desire move from thought to reality. "Stay with me," his mind conveyed. Longing and warmth through our connection. Reassurance and tenderness pulsed through my mind as I pulled him closer. We came together in the air, held by wind and the work of our wings. His hands at my back were firm and steady. My arms around his neck were sure. I set the pace, wing beats pushing us closer. He matched it, then gave me more. We moved in tandem, our closeness bonding us together more than ever before. The rhythm found us and carried us over the edge together. He made a sound in his throat that I felt all the way through me. I answered with my mouth on his shoulder, and my body asking for exactly what I wanted. He gave it. The heat gathered tight and bright. As we held our position, he pressed our foreheads again. He shared memory, emotion, the joy of first flight as a boy, the click in his soul when the world finally made sense to him, the relief of being seen as a strong and capable male by his clan. I opened and gave him mine. The messy joy of the birth of my children, tears and laughter, the safety of an ordinary Sunday morning, waking with my daughter's hair in my face and my son's foot wedged under my arm. I didn't know how precious those moments would be. We kept moving our truths between us, the intimacy of the moment palpable. He brushed his cheek against mine and pressed the ridges of our brows. Together gently, I breathed the croon into his name and let him feel me, every shred of my soul, every hope for our future. It hit hard and clean. His whole body answered, breath shuddering, hands sure and grateful, mouth on my cheek, like a thank you. We hovered their heat, wind-aching wings, until the world drifted back in. The falls spoke again. The arches shaped the air. Our breathing evened. We stayed close until the need for rest weighted our wings. We drifted down to a sun-warmed slab and lay on our sides, facing each other, knees touching. He smoothed his palm over the mark above. My heart, slow and reverent, I pressed our brows again and sent a simple truth. I choose you. He returned it with equal weight. Something old and watchful in me set its burden down. Aftercare was quiet and deliberate. He cleaned the salt from my scales with a damp cloth, careful over sensitive places. I checked his flight joints with gentle pressure until he sighed and relaxed under my hands. We drank from the river with our palms and didn't bother with communication. We didn't need to. He laughed once at nothing. I smiled into his chest and felt his heartbeat in answer. We flew home low in the violet light, below the arches, following the curve of the water. In the doorway, we shifted small things that mattered. Moved the bed so morning wouldn't find our faces too soon. Hung his tools where I could reach them. Set 2 bowls on the shelf, and then a third in hope for the future. He sat on the edge of the bed and opened his arms. I went to him. The day ended exactly where it should. When I laid an egg, I sang to it with every name I carry. Varun pressed his forehead to mine and let me feel what my voice looked like from the outside, a strong line passing into the shell and staying there. The hurt I carry didn't vanish, but it set down its knives. It became something I could hold without bleeding. We didn't tumble. We kept choosing, and the choosing became the shape of our life.